In this video, I want to show how we used LangGraph from LangChain to build a very comprehensive RAG agent that goes through various steps, that goes through the entire flow, which you can see here. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. First, I'm going to demo the application. So it's we built a very simple Streamlit frontend on top of it. So you can, for example, scrape a website. I scraped our own website. You can see the pages that are indexed. You can ask questions, for example, Vectrix, and the application will query the vector database, perform some steps, which you can see here. So this is a very easy question. You can just answer that by using a regular retrieval flow, but you can also combine various questions. For example, who are the founders of Vectrix, and how is the weather in San Francisco today? And then it will first detect the intents. Then it will split your questions in two parts. For example, who are the founders of Vectrix and how is the weather in Antwerp? Retrieve the necessary information for those two questions. The first one will be retrieved by the vector database. The other one will be retrieved by an API call, a search query actually. And then based on that, it will answer you, and it will also provide the references from the data sources it used to answer you. So if we show this same query inside the LangGraph application, which is provided for free by LangChain, you can really see all the steps we are taking to come up with a good answer. So first I will configure the flow. We'll take our project. I will leave the internet search disabled for the moment, and then we can ask it a question. So for example, I will ask the same question: who are the founders of Vectrix? I'll make this a little bit smaller so it's easier to follow, and you can really see and follow the entire flow and see what is happening here, the various steps we take before we come up with an answer. And so you see the answer is the same as the one we saw in the Streamlit application, but here you can really see all the steps that were taken before the answer was provided to the user. So first I ask the question, then the intent is detect intent. So it's a specific question. It's just one question: who are the founders of Vectrix? Then we will retrieve our documents. We will call a reranking model. Transform docs will call a reranking model and filter out any unnecessary content. And then based on that content, we will provide an answer. Now that's really easy. And we'll also provide the citations from the data we retrieved. So if I, for example, ask or just say hello, and I relaunch this flow, it will detect the intent as a greeting, and it will immediately answer, how can I assist you? So if you just say hello or goodbye, it's not necessary to launch the entire RAG flow and to query for data. You just have to respond to the greeting. So that's why it's very important at the start of a RAG flow to detect the intent. And so that's why it's very easy here. If you see the flow, you know really why certain things are happening. So now let's combine some stuff. So I'm going to enable internet search, and then we're going to open a new thread. And for example, I will ask, who is Ben Silaslak? And maybe another question is, what movies are playing in September? So these are two questions actually in one sentence. So if we would submit this, the system will detect the two various questions. So the first one is, who is Ben Silaslak? So for that, it will retrieve data from the RAG database, from the vector store, and the other query has to be responded with an internet search. So here you have Ben Silaslak is co-founder of Vectrix, so all the information that has been scraped from our website. And then regarding the movies in September, this is what came up during an internet search. So it combined those two sources into a single answer. So this is very powerful. You can create a lot of very complex flows with it. So this is just a simple example, but you can make it as easy or as complex as you want. How did I set this up? So first of all, we have our LangGraph JSON. This is basically a file that points to where your graph, the graph is this one here, where this is located. So basically it's located here in our source code. You can see all the nodes, detect intent. You have an answer given by an LLM. We split our questions into various subjects. We do our retrieve, we do our transformation. So basically our transformation means we call a reranker model and we filter out only the relevant documentation. We have a RAC answer. So a RAC answer is you provide context, you provide a question, and the LLM will respond to that. And additionally, we also have a node cite sources. So if the LLM responds based on sources that were given using our RAC flow, we want to know what sources are used and what sentences in those sources is used to give the answer. So basically, we can be very specific in how we want our flow to behave. So you see the code is pretty simple. So once we have all our nodes, we can easily combine those nodes. We set an entry point. So the first step we take is we detect the intents. So is it a greeting? Is it just a user question, or maybe it's a metadata query from how many posts are written by Ben? That's a metadata query. So you search over your entire index of data. And then we connect all those nodes. So detect intent. So in case, for example, our intent is we just want, it's a greeting. We just want the LLM to respond to that greeting. So that's an LLM answer. In case it's a specific question, what we do is we go to the next node and we split the questions. We split the questions and then we answer those questions in parallel. So it's also nice with LangGraph, you can run nodes in parallel, thus making your application a lot more performant than running everything in a loop and sequentially. That's a lot slower. So we do our retrieve. If we have a retrieve, we transform. Then we do the cite sources, then we provide an answer, and that's the end of our flow. And that's also the flow you see here. So this is the GitHub repository. You can just download the application for free. It's a Docker container. So if you would see how it actually works, it's a Docker container. It's this one here. And it connects to your source code. And then basically, if you change something in your code, the Docker container will automatically refresh and your graph will also be updated. So it's very convenient. I normally work with two screens. So one, I have my LangGraph Studio. On the left-hand side, I have my VS Code or my cursor editor. I just change the code and I see my graph being updated in real time. So it's really fast. It's for free, so I definitely recommend checking it out. Hopefully this was helpful. Bye-bye.